Om Dakshinasya Samarambha Shankaracharya Madhyama Asmadacharya Paryanta Smarya Guru Parampara Shruti Smriti Purananam Alayam Karunalayam Namami Bhagavat Padam Shankaran Loka Shankaram Shankaram Shankaracharyam Keshavam Badarayanam Sutra Bhashya Kritau Vande Bhagavantau Punah Punah Ishvaro Gururatmeti Murti Bheda Vibhagine Vyomavad Vyapta Dehaya Dakshinamurtaye Namaha Parijnanashrama Shri Guru Shankara Parijnanashrama Shankara Satguru Keshava Vamana Krishna Panduranga Ananda Parijnana Guru Sadyo Jata Shankara Sadguru Gurur Brahma Gurur Vishnu Gurur Devo Maheshwaraha Guru Sakshat Parabrahma Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha Om Sahana Vavatu Sahanau Bhunaktu Sahaviryam Karavavahai Tejasvinavadhitamastu ma vidvishavahai. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Vedantadindimah ekam udghoshayanti yat astam purastat tat tejaha Dakshinamurthy sannitam. Now we are at a stage where the Acharya Narasimha Saraswati is going deeper into various Vedantic prakriyas by which the Atma Nirnaya is made. Atma Nirnaya means coming to understand what I really am. I am that Sakshi Chaitanya Atma iti. For that Nirnaya, actually, I have to use certain, the Shastra and the Guru use certain techniques, certain modules, certain modes of communicating this incommunicable subject consciousness. As I said, Atma is not an object of perception. Therefore, it cannot be understood by Pratyaksha Pramana. It cannot be understood by Anumana Pramana or any other Pramana depending upon the Pratyaksha Pramana. All these Pratyakshadi Pramanas are only going to light up the object which is a material object in front of me. Only the Drishyam it lights up. Whereas I, the Drik, the seer, the consciousness, though I am that all the time, though I am all the time in myself, there is a constant pulsating spuranam, I am. But because of the avidya, veiling of avidya, I am not really able to see myself for what I am. And I identify myself with dehadi karyakarana sanghata or anatma karyakarana sanghata. Now, how to come to the conclusion that I am not the body, mind, sense complex, but I am that Drik Svarupa Atma, we already saw. Panchakosha Viveka, where the entire Sthula, Sukshma, Karana, Shariras are divided into 5 layers, and like peeling off an onion, every layer of Anatma is one by one peeled off, understanding that it is Anatma. Initially, when I look at my body, I don't say that it is an Atma. I say it is I. I have the feeling of Atma in the body. So first thing I have to be taught is that, look, this body is not you. You are the observer of the body. You are the perceiver of the body. You are the knower of the body. Therefore, you are Drik and the body is Drishyam. Therefore, you are not a body. Similarly, all the other 4 koshas, Pranamaya, Manomaya, Vijnanamaya, Anandamaya, all these 5 are nothing but the Sharira Trayam. Fine. Now what happens is, like I think now what happens is, once I have discarded that body, mind, sense complex as anatma, discard means I can't physically discard it, but emotionally, intellectually, I have understood very clearly that it is anatma. Then what do I do with that anatma? I'm not this, I'm not this, I'm not this, I'm not this. Okay, fine. I'm not all this. I have given up the upadhi by my intellectual separation and understanding. Then what happens to this anatma? How do I deal with this anatma? For that, here Vedanta says that anatma is nothing but atma with a name and form. What we are rejecting is only the name and form, not the adhishtanam of anatma, which is nothing but atma. Anatma is mithya means the names and forms that is observable or available to us is anatma. That name and form which is experienced, that which keeps on changing, that which is many, that which is anityam, that is anatma. But then the anatma also needs the support of this consciousness itself to exist. Otherwise, where will the anatma exist? That is why Matsthani Sarva Bhutani, Bhagwan Krishna said, even an anatma requires a locus to exist. A locus to exist. There should be something in which the anatma is existing. It cannot be simply projected by Maya out of nowhere. Even a projection requires an adhishtanam. A movie which is projected, it can't be projected in the air. It needs a screen, an adhishtanam on which it is projected. Similarly, this whole universe, whether it is the Vyashti Prapancha or the Samashti Prapancha, requires an adhishtanam. And what is that adhishtanam? That is Brahman and Atma. So, what here in the next few verses that we are studying right now is Anatma is Jada, we have said, whereas Atma is Chaitanya Swarupa, we have said. But then I see this body is very much Chaitanya, isn't it? The body has its own level of consciousness. The body is also capable of awareing something. The body is also capable of doing something. If it is totally Jada, how is it that this body, Anatma, this mind, Anatma, this prana, Anatma, how is it able to do such conscious, well thought of work, and the Sthula Sukshma Shariras are working in perfect unison? Both of them are Jada, we know that, because they are Pancha Bhautika. They have come out of the Pancha Bhutas, therefore the Sthula Sharira is also Mithya, the Sukshma Sharira is also Mithya, both of them are Jada, both of them are Anatma, yes, but I see that the Sthula Prapancha also is aware of something. There is a sense of touch in that, there is a sense of pain in that, correct? And even my prana, mana, this whole system, the sthula sukshma shariras are running like a wonderful orchestra. If they were jadam, how could they have run like that? How could this whole body mind sense complex called as the anatma, whatever is the upadhi of the jiva, how could it have functioned as though it is a conscious unit, isn't it? Don't we see that? We think clearly, we decide clearly, we want to go somewhere, we go, and the body also is giving us certain impulses or certain, stimuli which we are able to understand. So, if Vedanta says You are not the body, you are not the mind, you are not the prana, you are nothing of this. Fine, okay, you have discarded them as jada, but then how do I account for them? Okay, how do I account for them? What is that? Is that anatma something totally different from atma, or anatma is nothing but the very atma itself with a name and form? That upadhi, which is the name and form, is mithya, and the adhishtanam satyam jnanam anantam brahma is the reality. Okay, that's why in Nirvana Shatkam or Atma Shatkam, okay, na bandhur, na mitram, gurur, naiva shishya. No, 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 no. I'm not this, I'm not that, I'm not this, I'm not that. Okay, fine. I have negated everything. Then who am I? If I'm not this, if I'm not this, if I'm not this, then who am I? Chidananda Rupaha Shivoham Shivoham. And that Chit Ananda, Sat Chit Ananda Rupa Atma that I am, on that Atma only, or in that Atma only, this Anatma body mind sense complex also takes its locus. That is why what we are seeing here is from the 49th, 50 and 51 verses. We saw he says that, 51, 51st verse we saw in the last session. Dehadi panchakoshastha ya satta pratibhasate सा सत्तात्मान संदेहः इति वेदांतडिंडिमः. Dehadi panchakoshaha, all these dehadi panchakoshaha, they are anatma, we say. They are not me, I am not, they are not me, I am not them, I don't have them, I don't own them, all that we say. But there is a satta in them, isn't it? They are existing, whatever may be their existential reality. They may not be the paramarthika satyam, but vyavaharikataya, the body, mind, sense complex are existing. What is it that is giving the satta or the existence to these 5 layers of anatma? So the author says, sa satta atma. That satta, that easiness, that amness, that arness, that wasness, that will be-ness, the treeness of the tree, the bookness of the book. Where does it belong? It is Atma, Satrupa Atma. The Satta or the Satrupa Atma, Sat or the Satyam of Satyam Jnanam Anantam Brahma, or Sat Chit Ananda Atma. And what is this Sat or Satta? That which lends existence to Anatma. Anatma cannot independently exist by itself. Only Atma Chaitanya can exist by itself. That's why it says, Atma Brahma Sve Mahimni Tishtate. Sve Mahimni. Atma Brahman, this consciousness, it does not require anything else to support it. It is in itself. It is the supportless support of the entire Atma. Entire Anatma. The supportless support of entire Anatma. And what is this Anatma? The entire Upadhi called as Jagat, and the entire Upadhi called as the Nama Rupa, body, mind, sense complex. So in the 51st verse, which we saw last time, we said, Dehadi Panchakoshastha Ya Satta Pratibhasate. That satta, the presence, the easiness of all the 5 koshas, that is evident. Because what do I say? The body is, the prana is, the mind is, the easiness or the satta or the existence of the 5 anatma koshas is nothing but that existence called as Atma. Okay. And he says, na sandeha. Why no sandeha? Because anatma, being totally paratantra, cannot exist by itself independently. Swatantrena na vartate anatma. It requires the support of the satta called Atma. And in the next verse, we saw 52nd verse, Dehadi panchakoshastha ya spurtiranubhuyate sa spurtiratma naivanyat iti vedantadindimah. Dehadi panchakoshastha ya spurtihi. That consciousness, as though the body is a conscious entity, isn't it? I'm moving my hand, I'm talking. Who's doing the talking? The body mind sense complex. Who's doing the understanding of what I have to say next? How is this flow of thought coming? It's coming from the buddhi and the mind. I have to in between read what the verse is saying. I have to coordinate. That is my eyes and my brain, and everything has to coordinate. And if we say anatma, body mind sense complex, is jada, so I can peel them off one by one by one. All right, I've peeled them off, but they're still there and they're functioning as a single conscious unit. What is it that lends consciousness to the anatma, body mind sense complex? And that is nothing but is satyam jnanam anantam brahma, or vyashtitaya sat chit ananda rupa atma. The sat chit ananda rupa atma only gives or lends consciousness, borrowing consciousness from me, the atma, the body, mind, sense complex, work harmoniously as a single unit and help the jiva to conduct its vyavahara. Therefore, a jada anatma also requires the support or the satta or the existence of atma. A jada anatma, like the body mind sense complex, also requires spurti or jnanam, chit or jnanam, to function as a conscious entity. So from where has this come? This has come from me, I, the Atma, who's a conscious entity, and this body mind sense complex is borrowing spurti or consciousness from I, the Atma. And in the next verse, he says, Dehadi panchakoshastha ya pritiranubhuyate sa pritiratma kutastha iti vedantadindimah. So we saw satta, we saw spurti. The satta, the easiness in the body mind, dehadi panchakoshas. The satta that is there is nothing but that borrowed from Atma. Spurti that is there in all the layers of Dehadi Panchakoshaha, that Spurti also is borrowed from Atma. Spurti means consciousness, which works as a conscious unit. It's a reflection of consciousness which is there in the entire Sukshma Sharira transferred onto Sthula Sharira. Then there is Dehadi Panchakoshastha ya Pritihi Anubhuyate. Whatever Purnatvam or Priti or Ananda that is associated with the body mind sense complex, don't we have some kind of an Ananda out of this body? Don't we have some kind of a Priti Ananda coming out of this mind prana sense complex? Isn't it? Don't we have a sense of preeti towards this particular anatma? From where does it come? Preeti means purnatvam, Anandam, Saukhyam, Sukham. Where does it come from? He says, Panchadi koshastha ya pritihi anubhuyate. All these 5 koshas, which are not a source of priti or not a source of sukha, but they can express ananda or sukha in their own ways. From whom do they borrow this ananda? This ananda, anantatvam, purnatvam is also borrowed from the same Atma. That is why just because the body, mind, sense complex is anatma and jada, it doesn't mean that it doesn't give us any feelings at all. We have a preeti towards our own body, isn't it? At the same time, we have sometimes a hatred for some parts of our body when they start, misbehaving or start getting ill. Isn't it? From where is it coming? Okay, that is all coming from me, the Atma, the reflection of Atma Ananda in the Sukshma Sharira and Sthula Sharira is nothing but what? It is that which belongs to Atma. Therefore, from Vyashti Rupataya, though the Sthula Sukshma Karana Shariras or the Panchakoshas are understood as anatma, which are jada, but at this time, all of them are functioning as though they are one single common conscious universe or a conscious unit. Therefore, he says that the existence, the isness in the 5 koshas, the seeming consciousness because of which this whole mechanism is able to work properly, and the priti or the rasa that I experience in this body mind sense complex, the priti I have towards this body mind sense complex is also coming from, priti means ananda, coming from nothing but this Atma only. That's why I said, Asti Bhati Priyam Nama Rupam. Iti, this is a Panchakam. There are 5 things in this world. Asti, Bhati, Priyam, Nama Rupam. Adyatrayam, Brahma Rupam, Jagat Swarup, Jagat Rupam Tatodvayam. The other 2 are Jagat Swarupa, Jagat Rupa, not Swarupa, Jagat Rupa, name and form. So here he says, takes out our, wrong conclusion that we may have that this body is jada, but then it is feeling pain, correct? It is conscious of what is happening to it. It is capable of escaping when it is in danger. Okay? The mind gets hurt by something. The pranas get upset, as though, I say, I don't have the fitness. I'm not strong enough to climb these stairs. So it's as though, it is a conscious unit. We cannot, just throw away the body, mind, sense complex as anatma. We have to understand very clearly that anatma, body, mind, sense complex is also atman only with the name and form, with the function. Like a bangle is nothing but the gold only with the name and form and utility. So we have to, when we understand that, and when we understand that it's I, this Sat Chit Ananda Atma, who is lending Satta, Spurti, and Preeti to this body, mind, sense complex Upadhi. By themselves, they are Jada, they are only reflecting my, that is, the Atma Swarupa Ananda, Chit and Sat. Then I understand that, yes, the anatma is jada by itself. By itself, it is jada. But then it is made conscious, it is made existent, it is made to have some preeti or some kind of a happiness in it by nothing but the Atma. So here, the Vyashti Prapancha is completed. Okay, so the Vyashti Anatma is not a Jada Anatma. Vyashti Anatma is a also as though Chetanam, because it borrows Chaitanyam, borrows Satta, borrows Preeti from. So that's what we have seen now from the Vyashti Prapancha. Okay, so now he wants to say that means now the author wants to go to the Samashti also. And he wants to say that existence which is there in the Samashti Sthula Prapancha is also that which is borrowed by Atma or Brahman. But then there may be a confusion for us, the readers. Oh, so there is one existence here for the Vyashti Anatma, another existence there for the Samashti Sthula Prapancha. Oh, Vyashti Sthula Prapancha, Sukshma Prapancha, Vyashti Sthula Sharira, Sukshma Sharira, Karana Sharira have different set of satta, and the Samashti has a separate set of satta. We may mistake that. So we'll say there are many sattas, there are many existences. There is one existence behind this body, one existence behind your body, one existence behind the Sthula Prapancha. So we should not look at that satta or satyam or the sat as many, but one. Whether it is satta in the samashti prapancha or in the vyashti body, it is the same. For that, here the author is taking again a set of 3 verses which talk about the same satta which this body mind sense complex is borrowing from Atma. It is the same satta which is being borrowed by the entire Sthula Prapancha. This is what is going to, same thing with Spurti and Preeti. So let us read the 57th verse. I hope, Oh, sorry, no, we have to go to the 54th verse. Sorry, we have to go to the 54th verse, which talks about Satta in the Spurti and Preeti in the Samashti Prapancha also. So we'll go to the 54th verse, which says, Vyomadi Panchabhutastha Ya Satta Bhasate Nrinam Sa Satta Paramam Brahma Iti Vedantadindimah. In the previous verses, 3 verses, what did he say? Sa Satta Sphuta Sa Spurtihi Atma. Sa Satta Atma. Sa Preetihi Atma, he said, when it comes to the Vyashti Anatma, body, mind, sense complex. Now, he is going to the Samashti. Samashti Sthula Prapancha, Samashti Sukshma Prapancha, Samashti Karana Prapancha. And here, he uses the term Brahman because I told you the same consciousness from the point of view of the Samashti, we call it as Brahman, but from the point of view of this individual Upadhi, we call it as Atma. Atma, Brahman are one and the same. So here also the author is using Vyomadi Panchabhutastha Ya Satta Bhasate Nrinam. Okay. We see an existent sky. Okay. Akashadi. Vyomadi means Akashadi. Vyoma means Akasha. We see the easiness of the space. We understand the easiness of Vayu. Correct? Vayu is, the air is. We understand the easiness of Agni. The Agni is, fire is. Similarly, Apaha, water. Similarly, Prithvi. So, Panchabhutastha. Okay? Vyomadi Panchabhutastha. Previously, it was what? Dehadi Panchakoshastha. Last 3 were Dehadi Panchakoshastha Ya Satta Anubhuyate Sa Satta Atma. Okay? Then Dehadi Panchakoshastha Ya spurtihi anubhuyate, sa spurtihi atma iti Vedantadindimah. You see, just you can flip back and forth and see the common words and the common fact that he's trying to make in these 6 verses. So, Vyomadi Panchabhutastha, here not Panchakoshastha, here is the Samashti universe. So, Vyomadi Panchabhutastha, the Panchabhutas starting from Akasha up till Prithvi, which are the predecessors of the entire manifest Jagat. So, Vyomadi Panchabhutastha satta bhasate nrinam. We see, isn't it? The there is fire, there is water, this is the earth, this is the wind is blowing fast today. There is a hurricane. Such strong winds are there today. The space is beautiful here. Okay? There is a lot of space in this house. So what is the meaning of this? There is a isness or a satta in Vyomadi Panchabhutas also. So that satta, Vyomadi Panchabhutasta ya satta, bhasate, appears, nrinam. That is, we can see, we can say, nrinam bhasate. Every one of us is aware that there is water, there is Prithvi, the easiness of the Panchabhutas are available to us. Bhasate in Rinam. Sa Satta, what is that Satta? Paramam Brahma. Sa Satta Paramam Brahma. It is nothing but that Satyam Jnanam Anantam Brahma. Satyam Jnanam Anantam Brahma, which lends existence to Panchabhutas, from which the entire manifest universe is formed through a various chain reaction like causality process. Sasatta Paramam Brahma iti Vedantadindimah. Then, next, the same thing as far as consciousness is concerned. So you have to understand existence, consciousness, and sukham. In all the 5 layers of the body, mind, sense, complex, upadhi, vyashti, upadhi, and the very same 3 in all the 5 panchabhutas from which this entire universe is going to be formed. Of course, this body also is panchabhautika. Okay, it's not that the only universe outside only is panchabhautika. Even this body is panchabhautika. But he has dealt with the body in a little different way. So here, instead of taking the whole universe, takes Vyomadi Panchabhutasthaya Satta Bhasate Nrinam. That Satta which is available for perception by others, Sa Satta, that existence, Paramam Brahma. That is nothing but Satyam, Jnanam, Anantam, Brahma. Paramam Brahma, the highest, the most exalted. Okay? That is the absolute principle, the absolute easiness is Brahman. Brahman sarvagatatvat satrupena adhishtanam bhavati. Okay? Spurti rupena, jnana rupena, it becomes again another adhishtanam, where as jnana swarupa, Brahman lends jnanam to this entire samashti prapancha, for this prapancha to run intelligently. So he says, Vyomadi Panchabhutastha Yachidekānubhūyase Sachidyeva Param Brahma Nanyadvedantadindimah. Vyomadi Panchabhutastha Ya Chid Eka Anubhuyate. Chit means consciousness. The world is also conscious, no? There are other conscious jivas, isn't it? The world is a mixture. I am a conscious jiva, okay, I understand. But the world or the universe around me is a mixture of Jada and Chetana Vastus. Chetana Vastus like other Jivas are there. Okay. And we see so many other things which is a mixture of Jada and Chetana. So, Vyomadi Pancha Bhutastha Ya Chid Eka Chideka Anubhuyate. That consciousness which is seen in the living matter of this entire universe, Sachideva Param Brahma. Sachidyeva Param Brahma. That Chit, Satyam Jnanam, that awareness, the knowingness belongs to whom? Belongs to what? It belongs to Param Brahma. That consciousness is nothing but Param Brahma, na anyad, nothing else. Iti Vedantadindimah. Then the 56th verse talks about the third, Anantatvam, Purnatvam, Anandam, Sukham, Saukyam. All these are the words used for Anantam, or a sense of fulfillment or happiness or Sukham, unparalleled by anything else, unlimited by anything else. So, what is Brahman Atma? Existence unlimited by anything else, infinite. Consciousness unlimited by anything else, infinite. Purnatvam or Sukham, Anandam, unlimited by anything else. Desha Kala Vastu Aparichinna, and of the very Swarupam of infinite consciousness, infinite existence. Okay, so Anantam means infinite. Wherever you see, whatever you see, there is consciousness and existence. So it is nothing but infinite consciousness existence. So Vyomadi Panchabhutastha Ya Pritiranubhuyate. Whatever Priti or happiness or Anandam or Sukha that we experience of in the Panchabhutas and their products, in the Panchabhutas and their products, the entire universe, it does not belong to the Anatma Panchabhutas. It belongs to what? Sa Pritireva Brahma. Sa Pritihi Brahma Eva Syad. Sya Pritihi Brahma Eva Syad iti Vedantadindimah. There is nothing other than Brahman. That Brahman, which is the Atma, which is the abode of infinite existence, that is nothing but, Anantatvam, Satta, Ananta Satta, Ananta Spurti. There is no question of limited Satta or limited Spurti. It is everywhere, all pervading, Sarvagatam. So he says, Vyomadi Panchabhutastha ya Pritiranubhuyate sa Pritireva Brahmasyat iti Vedantadindimaha. So the previous 3 verses and the present 3 verses are talking about, the consciousness, existence, Anandam, Sukham behind the Vyashti Anatma. And these 3 are talking about the consciousness, existence, and Anandam or Anantatvam in the Samashti Anatma. Therefore, Anatma cannot exist independently. It is always Paratantra. The body, mind, sense complex cannot exist independently because existence, consciousness, Ananda is not its nature. It has to borrow that from Atma. Therefore, the body, mind, sense complex Anatma exists in Atma. Without Atma, there is no anatma. For example, a mirror is there. I am standing in front of the mirror. The face is there in mirror. Anatma, reflection of my face, is there only because this original face, is standing in front of the mirror. Fine. Supposing this face is not in front of the mirror, this face will not appear in the reflection. Why? The reflection has no independent existence of its own. It depends on the bimba. The pratibimba depends upon the bimba. Similarly, the body, mind, sense complex are merely reflecting satta, spurti, and priti. Similarly, the anatma at the samashti level, the whole universe, the sthula prapancha, sukshma prapancha, karana prapancha, all the three, they are jada. There is no inherent satta, spurti, or ananda in them. They have to borrow satta, spurti, and ananda from Parabrahma for existence. Therefore, Atma Brahman is the Adhishtanam. It is the Adhishtanam in which both the Vyashti Anatma and the Samashti Anatma exist. But do they affect the Atma Chaitanyam or Brahma Chaitanyam in any way? No. They are there in it, but they don't affect the Adhishtanam in any way. Adhara Adheya Sambandha, it is called as. Sometimes the Adheya can affect the Adhara. In our this one, if this table is kept for a long time on the floor, it will start leaving marks on that. This Adhara Adheya is different. This floor as the Adhishtanam for this table, this is there in the Vyavaharika Jagat. Whereas Paramarthikataya, there is only one Adhara. There is only one Adhishtanam in which all the Anatma is present. Therefore, he says that in the Samashti also, the entire Samashti Sthula Sukshma Karana Prapanchas have to depend upon Atma or Brahma Chaitanya. Now here, there is a possibility that a Mudha, Ajnani, or a Mumukshu like me who is still in the process of learning may think that there are two sets of satta. One Vyashti satta, one Samashti satta. One Vyashti spurti, another Samashti spurti. One Vyashti priti, another Samashti priti. It is not that. Then we'll be having division. Whereas what does Vedanta say? Ekameva advitiya Brahma. One and only. There is no question of dividing this Brahman into different existences. There is one existence, that is Brahman, which is also called Atma. There is one consciousness which is called as Brahman, Atma. There is one, Purnatvam or totalness or Anantatvam, that is Brahma, Atma. Therefore, here he wants to say that satta which is in the Vyashti Anatma, body, mind, sense complex, and that satta in the Samashti Prapancha are not different. They are one and the same. That consciousness which is behind the individual body, mind, sense complex, lending its consciousness to this Anatma Upadhi, is that very consciousness behind the entire Samashti Prapancha also. And that Anantatvam, that Anandam, which it lends, which is borrowed by the Vyashti Anatma, body, mind, sense complex. It is the same Anandam or Anantatvam or Purnatvam with respect to the world outside. So the next three verses are making it very clear to us that Vyashti Satta is not different from Samashti Satta. Vyashti Spurti is not different from Samashti Spurti. Vyashti Priti is not different from Samashti Priti, because the source of all these things is one Atma Brahman. Okay? Param Brahma is nothing but Atma. From the point of view of the Samashti, from the point of the universe, we say Brahma. But here we say Sakshi Chaitanya Atma. But they are not different. Ayam Atma Brahma. Prajnanam Brahma. Okay, so here now in next three verses, the author wants to make it very clear that it is one consciousness behind the Vyashti Samashti, one existence behind the Vyashti Samashti, one Ananda or Purnatvam as the Adhishtanam. There are no different Adhishtanams. So let's go to the 57th verse. देहादिकोशगा सत्ता यासा व्योमादिभूतगा मानाभावान्न तद्भेद इति वेदान्तडिण्डिमः. So he says, Dehadikoshaga sattaya, that sat, that existence, which is called as satta, which is in the Dehadikoshas, sa satta, that satta, vyomadi bhutaga. That's the same existence which is behind the vyomadi panchabhutas. And mana bhavat na tadbheda. Mana means what? Pramana abhavat tad na bheda. What he says is, there is no pramana, there is no Veda pramana, no Vedanta pramana to say that these two are different. All Vedanta says, all Upanishads say that Atma Brahma Abheda, Atma Brahma are not two different things. Okay, only when we are discussing about the Vyashti, we call it the Atma, just a name. With respect to the Samashti, Brahman is Jagat Karanam, we say. Correct? But we have to understand that this Vyashti Anatma body mind sense complex is also a part of the whole universe, Samashti. It's not different. It is also a part of the Samashti Anatma itself. Therefore, Atma, Brahman, the existence called as Brahman, the existence called Atma are no two different things. Na tadbhedaha. The satta that is dehadi koshaga, the satta that is vyomadi bhutaga. Bhutaga means the one experience the existence in Panchabhutas and the existence in body, minds and complexes are not different. Na tat bheda. There is no bheda. Mana abhavat. Pramana abhavat. You can't find a single pramana in Vedanta. No single proof in Vedanta to say that there are two existences. It cannot be. When Brahman is sarvagatam, when Brahman is infinite, anantam, sarvagatam, it is one. There cannot be two infinites. There cannot be two sarvagatams. There is only one infinite sarvagatam Brahma. So there is no pramana. Mana here means pramana, proof. And what proof do we depend upon? We depend upon the proof on Vedas only, on the Upanishads only. So, mana abhavat, because of no proof, absence of proof to the contrary, Na tad bhedaha. There is no bheda between them. Iti Vedantadindimaha. Then next, again spurti or consciousness comes. Dehadi koshaga spurtihi yasa vyomadi bhutaga mana bhavanna tad bhedaha iti Vedantadindimaha. Repetition of the same words in the formation of the verse. But the idea is one verse for satta, one verse for spurti, one verse for priti. So, dehadi koshaga spurti. This consciousness which is lent to this panchakoshas, it is the same consciousness. Spurti ya sa, that spurti sa, feminine gender. So sa, all three are satta, spurti, priti. So therefore all ya sa, okay. So ya spurtihi sa vyomadhi bhutagata. All this consciousness which is here, it is the same consciousness behind the Panchabhutas and all their karyas. The same consciousness, the same existence is the Adhishtanam of the Vyashti and the Samashti. See, from the point of view of Atma, there is no Vyashti Samashti. It is all the same. The Upadhis, everything is the same. Whereas for us, for this jiva, for this intellect, which is used to dividing everything and knowing, for me, I feel I am one and everything else is the other. And this is how Vedanta has to prove to me, look, you are not different from the Samashti because that particular satta and spurti which is behind your body, mind, sense complex is the same satta spurti behind the samashti anatma also. And anatma being mithya, you are not the anatma, you are the atma. Similarly, the jagat anatma, Ishvara anatma being mithya, Brahman, which is the adhishtanam of Jagat, is the reality. And that Brahman is one continuous existence, consciousness, Ananda. It is not separate. It is not divided. Okay? It's not like this existence is divided into millions of parts and I have one part of it. It's not like that. It's not. This and that existence, consciousness are one and the same. Okay, spurti yasa vyomadhigata, vyomadhibhutagata, mana abhavat na tadbhedaha. There is no pramana anywhere in our scriptures to say that the consciousness in a human being is different from the consciousness in a bird, different from a consciousness in another jiva, different from the consciousness in whatever living, sukshma sharira yukta living organism is there in this universe. There is no pramana there. Iti Vedantadindimaha. Then Dehadi koshaga pritihi yasa vyomadhibhutaga mana bhavanna tad bhedaha iti Vedantadindimaha. Same here. Dehadi koshaga pritihi. Pritihi means what? That anandam or that sukham that I find in a particular upadhi is nothing but borrowed from the ananta infinite anandam, purnatvam of this Atma Brahma. And it is the same priti, sa vyomadi bhutaga. It is the same priti found or the same ananda reflecting in all the panchabhutas and then the consequence of them, nothing but the world. Mana bhavat, pramana abhavat. There is no proof that there is any bheda here. There is no bheda between the Vyashti Atma and Samashti Brahman. No bheda between this Vyashti Spurti and Satta and Priti and Samashti. Therefore, na bhedaha. There is no proof or pramana for the difference. Therefore, what? The Vyashti Atma Adhishtanam, the Adhishtanam of the Vyashti Anatma, the Adhishtanam of Samashti Anatma is one and the same. Anatma cannot exist by itself independently. It needs the support of Atma for its existence, for consciousness, and for Purnatvam or for Anandam. And what is it? That has infinite satta, infinite consciousness, and infinite by itself, one without a second. That is this Atma Brahman. Therefore, we have statements in Mandukya Upanishad, Ayam Atma Brahma. This Atma is Brahman. Okay, then also we have many statements like that. In many Upanishads, we have these statements. Prajnanam Brahma. Prajnanam Anandam Brahma. So that the consciousness behind this knowing, this knowingness is the same consciousness in the Samashti Prapancha also. So with this, we have come to a very, come to the conclusion of a very important teaching of Vedanta, that there are no multiple Atmas. Okay, there are no multiple Atmas. There is one Ekameva Advitiya Atma Brahman. We'll stop with this. Nandantu sadhaka sarve vinashyantu vidushakaha avastha shambhavimestu prasannostu gurus sada sarve bhavantu sukinaha sarve santu niramayaha sarve bhadrani pashyantu ma kaschid dukkham apnuyat. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Om Tat Sat.